So welcome to the course on Articulate Storyline 360. Now before we proceed, it's important to know that you can get a free version of this, and even in the free version you have all features. So don't think that it's a restricted version or something. So you can head towards the Articulate website, go ahead and put in your email ID, and then you will be getting an email with a verification link. Once you do that, you can install the Storyline software. Now once you have the Storyline software installed on your system, this is how the icon would appear on the desktop. This is pretty much how installing any software works. Just double click on the icon and this should open up an interface which should look like this. Now if some of you have used PowerPoint or any other office tool, for example, things are pretty similar, at least in terms of keyboard shortcuts and many other things. Now we'll be shortly looking into all of that, so don't worry. Now if you see on the left side, we have a variety of options. So if you see here, we have like option of starting a new project or maybe recording a screen simulation. That's whatever is happening on the screen gets recorded, or we can import from PowerPoints or import from various other things, or we can collaborate with team members. Now, if you see, there is another thing that's appearing here, and that's like different projects which I have been using. Now, if you have seen like, Word, Excel, this is how it works. So you can see the recent projects appearing, and then like you can click on that and the project opens up. Now, if you are using this for the first time, it's quite likely that you don't have any recent project, and that's why you would be starting a new project. Now, this small little overview is just about presenting how the Storyline software looks like. Now, just think of making a story or a film. Now, if you are making a story like say Sholay, now what happens is you will be having quite few many scenes there, and these scenes will then be having certain slides. For example, this may be a fish market, maybe a classroom, maybe a hospital. So basically these are different scenes, and then inside those scenes there will be different slides that we create which adds up to that scene. Now all these scenes, the hospital scene, the classroom scene, the fish market scene, all of them combinedly make the story. That's what we are creating. We are creating a story. Now in BHL you may have different products, so you may want to create story file for those products to explain how they work, how they are, how they are significant for that matter. So anyways, once you have the story view out here, you can see like I have a scene and then a certain slide, and both of them are untitled. Doing anything in story file is pretty simple. Simply clicking or double tapping here and I can change this, and this I can say test scene, and this will be comprising of quite few many slides. So if I want to change the slide name, I can just double tap here and then I can write test slide 1. So this is how simple it is to just rename the scene in the slide. Now this here is referred to as the story view, which gives us a graphical representation of all the scenes that the story contains, and then within the scenes the different slides that the scene encompasses. Now if I want to see the scene view, I simply click on the first slide, double tap on it, and this is basically my scene view, which shows the scene and the different slides that the scene contains. Now this is the environment that I wanted you to get familiarized with, because this is something that we will be using day in day out for the remaining part of our module. And so it's very important that you understand the options here in the top ribbon, what appears here, what is to the right side, what you see on the left side. So this is basically referred to as the storyline environment. Like I was repeating earlier, in case you have been using PowerPoint or Excel for that matter or anything, you will see that the options here pretty much resemble the ones in the different office softwares. Now, even for example, if I want to name this something, I simply go to file and I can click on like save, and I can give it a certain name. So I can just keep it a name, test e-module. And basically this story file of mine has now a name which is called as test e-module. And this is the first slide that I have here. Well, now let's kind of understand the environment. And here if you see, we have something called as a timeline, then we have something called states, then on the right we have something called as triggers, and then we see something called as slide layers. So what exactly is all of that? So we will, like in the upcoming tutorials, be looking into this in much depth, but I will just kind of give you a small overview of all of this. So I will go to file and I will go to like a certain story file which I have created. to explain the whole subject. So here, like a certain story that I have created for this project of ours goes about explaining the different concepts. So the story view contains, like, the certain scene. I just have one scene explaining all the different concepts. I just click on the first slide of the scene, I double click on it, and there you go, it presents to me neat slide representation. And then, like, I can simply click on the next slide to see the next slide, and likewise. Now it's very important to understand like what all we will be learning. So we will be beginning with, like, like understanding the timeline, then understanding what are objects within storyline. We'll be understanding what are slide layers, and then also understanding how to attach triggers onto your slide objects, and then animations, and then finally how we can preview and publish our story file. So stay tuned as we delve into each of these concepts and understand basically what they mean. We will catch up with you shortly.